Hello, welcome to Local Anesthetic Podcast, your weekly injection of mind-numbing local news. My name is Alex, and joining us as always is Rob. How are you, Rob?
Hello, folks. Yeah, not too bad. Had a bit of a quite heavy cold this weekend, so I'm conscious that my voice may go. But apart from that, yeah, it's fine.
It's not the coronavirus, is it, Rob?
I mean, Alex, I could do it at the time of work, to be honest. No, I shouldn't joke about that. Not that I'm aware of, no. I'm off work anyway. That's really bad. I'm going away. No, but I don't think so. No, I'm assuming that I'll be a lot worse than I am. Yeah, so I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I'm just pleased that we're doing this over Skype, just in case.
Fair enough.
So, Rob, this is episode 303?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Episode 303 now. For the fastidious amongst you, we're recording on the 17th of February, 2020. And of course, as I said last time, Rob, it is, well, yesterday was our anniversary, our 8-year podcast anniversary. Is that correct? This doesn't sound right still, but...
It is, yeah. It's our 8th anniversary since we started, back in the heady days of 2012.
If you asked me... And I didn't know, and I'm being absolutely genuine. If you asked me to ballpark how long we've been doing this podcast for, I would say 4-5 years.
Yeah,
I would never say 8.
No, I completely agree. It really doesn't feel that long. I'm not trying to exaggerate. It doesn't. It's quite astonishing we've been going for this long.
It is. But you know, I don't want to disappoint the listeners, but this isn't a particularly special themed episode, despite it being our 8-year anniversary, because we just had that 300 one, Rob. We don't want to exhaust ourselves with too much merriment.
Exactly, and I did try and find some. I got some party poppers laying around the place, but I can't find them. So let's just carry on.
Oh right, well I've just got some regular poppers, so I've been taking those.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll pop around later then.
Yeah, no, because you're self-isolating, Rob.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. I'll self-isolate myself to ejaculation.
Rob, on that, I mean that is a way, isn't it, to get some easy time off work. You say, look, I've got these symptoms. I need to self-isolate. See you in 2 weeks. No, I mean nobody's going to question you, and they're not going to pop round to check how you are.
I'm assuming that any half-decent HR department would require some sort of doctor's note. They wouldn't just... You can't just call out and say, yeah, I've had a few coughs. I think it's a coronavirus, so I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Is there any news before we begin?
Is there any news? I don't think there is, no. I'm just thanking the usual people for your contributions on the forum, posting the stories. But no, I think it's been relatively quiet.
Okay, right. Well, Rob, this first story, we're going to Salt Lake City in America. It's from KUTV, the website.
I'm still fascinated by your sources.
I can't reveal. 31st of January, 2020, by Adam Forgey. This is a great story. It's only short, but do you want to hear? Look, Rob, we all love to hear a genius scam. This is actually a genius scam. Okay. So, a Utah man is facing criminal charges after police say he admitted to releasing mice and hamsters at least 3 different Utah hotels. Why do you think he did that, Rob?
So then he can claim compensation because he was staying in them?
Yeah, so he can say, I want the room for free.
Yeah.
They believe, Rob, it's happened at many more hotels. This is a serial case. Police allege that Ryan Sentel State, 37, would release the rodents in his hotel room and then complain about it to get the room for free. 2 of the 3 hotels police investigated compensated him following his complaints. He would also point out feces left by the rodents. And hotels are forced to contact pest control when animals and feces are found in rooms. Police say that the man who's called, what's his name? Ryan Sentel State. So police say that Mr. State and his gang of rodents, can I just say Mr. State and his gang of rodents? I don't know, it's a children's book, but also a very good episode title.
It is, very strong, yeah.
Well, it caused damage to several hotel rooms. So I like that. If any of you want a free stay in your local travel lodge or Premier Inn, take a rat down with you, let it out in the room, take a video of it, go downstairs to reception and say, I want this room for free.
Can I just ask, was there any suggestion that he'd been inappropriate with the mice at all? You know, he wasn't hosting like a mouse orgy and then to try and cover his tracks, he then got the room for free and also got his, dirty deed conducted beforehand.
Disposed of by but also got the dirty disposed of afterwards by pest control.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, Rob. Rob, I'm finding it hard to visualise a mouse orgy. Okay, next story.
There's a sentence I expect you didn't think you'd be saying this evening.
I've got two more stories, Rob, which are quite short, but they are both Trump related. The first comes from ABC News. You'll notice, I think, anyway, ABC News, by Associated Press. It was on Valentine's Day, 14th of February. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way, Rob.
Oh, happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Man upset he can't bring cutout of Donald Trump to dialysis.
So, you know when I sent you a message saying, please avoid any story that features a dialysis?
Oh, yeah!
Fuck's sake. I mean, it wasn't even that long ago. It was literally probably
2 days
Saturday,
ago.
I think it was.
Yeah.
2 days ago. Great.
Yeah.
Luckily,
well, anyway.
I'd literally, before the episode started, I binned it off because I found another story which I thought was probably better.
Oh, right. Well, then it doesn't matter, does it? I think you're wrong to have binned
Alex,
it off, Rob.
Yeah, but I just think that, there's some unwritten rules of this podcast where
You've never followed them.
exchanges
Listen.
messages.
A Florida man undergoing kidney dialysis 3 times a week is upset he can't bring a life-size cardboard cutout of President Donald Trump for emotional support. Now, what I love about this story, and I'm surprised you binned it off, Rob, is in this story you have the graduation theory, if you like, for any long-time listeners, graduation theory of emotional comfort support objects.
I know, Alex. I've read the story.
So basically, Nelson Gibson, this is the guy, has said that his family can't sit with him during his 3.5 treatments. He doesn't say why. I just assume they don't want to. No, we're not into. We'll get bored. We're not doing it, right? So to help, he began bringing a picture of Trump as a comfort item. And he said nobody complained about the photo. So it started off with a photo. Then he started bringing a small cardboard cutout of himself standing next to a Trump photo. Not next to Trump, but next to a Trump photo. Nobody complained about that. Some people even took photos of it. And then he graduated up to a life-size cutout of Trump, which he brought along to his treatment at Fresenius Kidney Care in... he said that, again, no one took issue with his new emotional support item. But when he returned Tuesday for treatment with the presidential cutout, he ran into a roadblock, not literally. They told me it was too much and that it wasn't a rally, he told the TV station. Brilliant. You can imagine him with his cap, his T-shirt, cut out under the arm.
Does it say that the story I read, which I think was from the Miami Herald, said that apparently his son made the cutout for him?
His son Eric contacted officials at the facility to find out what the problem was. It was supposed to be an issue of safety. It was supposed to be an issue of safety infectious disease, which made no sense. That doesn't. I don't think you understood them right. What the fuck does safety infectious disease mean?
To be fair, when I look at Donald Trump, I often think that he is harbouring numerous infectious diseases.
The Gibsons say they feel singled out since the centre typically encourages patients to bring in emotional support items. Gibsons, what kind of man is this who forget whether it's Trump or Hillary Clinton? Why would staring at a cardboard cutout of a politician bring you emotional support?
Do you know what, Alex? I think, maybe put it this way. I think, obviously, dialysis is a very serious... kidney failure is a very serious condition. So, dialysis needs to be done to take all the toxins out of the body.
Yes.
And I think if you're staring into the face of Donald Trump, you realise that dialysis is preferable to looking that man in the face.
Very good point. Okay, I hadn't thought of that. Gibson said another patient brings in bubble wrap and pops it during her treatment, which he finds nerve-wracking. Because, yes, that would piss you off, wouldn't it? What I would really like to happen, he says, is for them not to infringe upon my father's freedom of expression, this is his son, and speech, and allow him to bring in the life-size cardboard cutout that takes up less surface area than a garbage can. While we cannot discuss any specific individual, the hospital says we strongly support the ability of all our patients to express their views, which includes bringing reasonably sized items into our dialysis centres that do not create safety or infection control issues or interfere with caregivers on the treatment floor. The family said they aren't sure when Gibson will return for treatment. Rob, where is the fucking limit here? Like, you're going in for dialysis. What, you're going to bring a bloody pony for emotional support? Where is the fucking limit? What is going on in this world?
Alex, I think we've crossed this line. It all goes back to the woman who flushed away her hamster As far as I'm concerned, that was the line in the sand.
For any listeners who don't know, a woman turned up at an airport with a hamster that she wanted to bring on her flight as an emotional support animal, and they told her that she couldn't bring the hamster on the flight because this particular airline didn't permit emotional support animals, and because she was going to miss her flight unless she got through the gate. And she didn't know what to do with the hamster. She decided the best thing to do, it was her beloved hamster, wasn't it, Rob? Is flush it down the airplane. Go into the toilet in the airport and flush it down the loo whilst crying.
I mean, she did give it a Viking burial, but even so, it was quite harsh.
I have no idea what episode that was. You'll have to trawl through the episodes and the descriptions on lapodcast.net and work it out for yourself. But Rob, where is the line? Could you bring 4 boxes worth of porn mags along to dialysis for emotional support? Where is the line?
Alex, as a man who often takes four boxes of used porn mags anywhere he goes, I find that I get a lot of comfort from those mags.
Well, especially while you're self-isolating, Rob.
Well, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the last story is because it is related to Trump. I just thought it segues in nicely to, because when I read it, it did make me smile. This is from The Guardian, the traitorous Guardian, Rob, which I'm surprised is, still around, really, given its traitorous crimes. Again from Valentine's Day, and by Stephanie Convery. Are they mean? Donald Trump obsessed with badgers. New book claims.
Yeah, I saw this as well. It was bizarre.
It's brilliant. Of all the topics to occupy the mind of the most powerful person in the United States, one would not expect badgers to make a frequent experience. But the rotund, hairy omnivores were apparently an alarmingly regular topic of conversation in the White House during the early months of Donald Trump's presidency, according to Daily Beast reporters Lachlan Markay and Asarwin Sabasang, I think. The authors details Trump's preoccupation in their new book, Sinking in the Swamp, How Trump's Minions and Misfits Poisoned Washington. Along with detailing the murky underworld of President Trump's Washington, etc., etc., it also talks about his fascination with badgers. So over 2 pages, the authors explain that Trump would interrogate his former chief of staff, Reince Priebus, about the black, white and grey creatures. The questions would arise at such opportune moments as when Priebus was attempting to brief the president on matters of healthcare initiatives, foreign policy, or Republican legislative agenda. There's an episode title. Trump would ask, are they mean to people? He asked Priebus, perhaps thinking of badgers' very long claws. And then he would then say, or are they friendly creatures?
Alex, is there not a possibility that Donald Trump thought this was actually a race of people?
No, he would also demand to see photos of badgers and ask Priebus to give details on how badgers work, and he wanted to know if they had a personality or if they were boring.
That still does not prove that he doesn't realise they were an animal, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, he saw photos of them. Priebus was also called on to explain by the president how the critters function and behave, what kind of food they like, and how aggressive or deadly they could be when presented with perceived existential threats. Can I just say, Rob, perceived existential threats, I think needs to be our episode title.
I like that, but I wish we can incorporate the word badger in there. The perceived existential threat posed by badgers. Yes, lovely. The authors say Trump would frequently derail important policy discussions with questions about the animals. How is it? I'm sorry, I know this. I've asked this question so many times. How is this man president of the United States of America? How is that possible? Because we're living in a parallel universe. I've explained to you before. At some point there was a rip in the time-space continuum, and nothing that we're actually living in, it was the original reality we were in, and I actually believe that. Listen, an obviously enthralled president would stare at Priebus as the eyed struggled for sufficiently placating answers, all the while trying to gently veer the conversation back to whether we were going to do a troop surge in Afghanistan or strip millions of Americans of healthcare coverage, they wrote. I think that Trump is sexually attracted to badgers. Yeah, do you know what? When it comes to him, nothing surprises me anymore. Okay, Rob, have you got a story for us? It better be good, because, 8 years we've been doing this, Rob. 8 long years. Well, Alex, I thought we'd take a slight tangent and go back to local news. It was local to people who lived in America. All of that news was local to them, Rob. Okay, yeah. I'm not sure stories from The Guardian necessarily count. I thought we were... It doesn't matter. Anyway, look, my voice might be going, so I'm going to try and persevere anyway for the benefit of the podcast. So the first story is
Rob,
from the Wales
Rob.
Online.
I'm sorry, but when I was at university, and I was once very stoned, where I lived on campus, the building, in the early hours of the morning, I was found chasing a badger round the Sussex Downs. I didn't want to have sex with it. I want to be clear, but I don't really know what I was doing. I could have got TB.
Is that a true
Rob.
story?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's lots of stories like that. Yeah. Should I tell you something else that happened when I was at university? When I was back in London visiting my family, and I went out with my friends, because the friends that I knew down here, we'd all gone off to kind of different universities, and we went to a fried chicken shop one day after going to the pub to have some lovely South East London fried chicken.
Oh, is it Morley's?
No, Rob.
Oh, okay.
It was called Favourite Fried Chicken. Tom will probably remember this if you're listening, Tom in Gloucester. And there was a big poster on the wall of like a Santa Claus holding a big bucket of chicken with a big promotion, $9.99 or whatever it is. And as we were leaving, I ripped this poster down off the wall, much to the consternation of the poor people who worked there. I was drunk and other things, and a bit out of control in those days, Rob. And I took it down to me, to my university in Sussex. And I lived in this building where I lived on campus, which sort of overlooked the sort of campus. I was on the top floor facing out over the campus, and I stuck that poster in my window. And for the following week, I would get knocks at the door at all hours of the morning, 2 a.m, 3 a.m, 4 a.m, with people asking for fried chicken. In the end, because you could see it from everywhere. In the end, I had to. I took it down. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth the joke, Rob.
That's a truly astonishing story.
And still today, I am known as Chickenman. No, that bit's not true.
It does remind me of it, and I know we're going off on a complete tangent.
People call me the Colonel. But,
yeah, but that's for very different reasons.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
I remember once when I was a youngster, and I think I may have been under the legal age for drinking. I think we may have been 16 or 17. We'd been to a friend's party that was held in a small village in Northamptonshire, and we'd left this party because I think it was winding down, and somehow we managed to find ourselves in a house party where we knew literally no one there, because we were just walking around this village and just apparently just stumbled into someone's house. And I was with my friend James, who I don't think listens to this podcast, and we were sitting in this complete stranger's living room, and all of a sudden he started clambering over the sofa. There were people sitting on the sofa, so he was clambering over the sofa and was trying to eat this carpet that had been affixed to the wall. And in his drunken state, obviously it was a decorative carpet, but he was convinced that the tiny shell beading around the outside was sugar puffs, and he was trying to eat the carpet.
Rob, there's an injunction. You're not meant to talk about sugar puffs or the honey monster. You know that.
Let me correct that. I meant
honey puffs. You can say that.
Honey puffs. Thank you. Yes, the off-brand Audi equivalent. Anyway, where are we? Right, now, do I need to move you out of the way, cat? Sorry, listeners, my cat's jumped on the table. I think he'll be okay. Right, so we're from... What are we featuring?
Told
right,
you, Rob, it needs a firm hand.
Right, bear me a second. Come here, you. Oh, God, you're getting fat. There we go. Okay, so
there was no need for that, Rob. When I said a firm hand, sorry, I didn't mean if you take that literally. No.
Oh, well, I'm sure he'll be back at some stage during the week. So, for the fourth time, this is from the Wales Online. It's from Valentine's Day by Neil Shaw. And the headline, man called Storm Dennis is being trolled online.
Sorry, who the fuck is called Storm Dennis? Apart from like a wrestler. His first name is Storm.
Storm is a very popular name amongst the Scandinavian people, I believe.
Oh, yes, okay. That's brilliant, isn't it? That is absolutely brilliant.
He's not from Scandinavia, but...
Oh, right, okay. Has it got the accent, though? Has it got the accent?
No, but Dennis is spelled with 2 S's, though.
Right, well, anyway.
So, a man called Storm Dennis says he's being menaced by online trolls angry about the weather. The Met Office has predicted 1,200 miles wide Storm Dennis will bring a month of rainfall in just 24 hours when it hits the UK tomorrow. Which
been and gone. I mean, this is sounding very dated, yeah.
Yeah. But ever since the gale was named on Tuesday, Storm Dennis 24 has been hounded by trolls on Facebook. People he has never met before hit him with more than 50 messages pleading for him not to wreak havoc. One said, "All right, mate, not being funny, but if you're planning on blowing shit around my town this week, you better think twice. For fuck's sake, Dennis, think about it." Another said, "Hey, Storm Dennis, don't be showing your face at the weekend. I don't want you blown over the road and rolled down the hill like Sonic the Hedgehog." One bloke wrote,
I reckon that was the people. I reckon that was an account set up by the marketers for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, they need all the. I mean, do they need more promotion? No, probably not. Did you? Have we talked about? Did you see the original Sonic the Hedgehog? By the way, did you see the trailer?
Yeah, because basically they had to change the model of Sonic because the fans were up in arms about how horrific it looks, and it did. But you might argue that I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if that had all been deliberate. A bit of a marketing ploy.
Yeah, it could. I mean, it could be a deliberate shit post. I don't know, but it did look very creepy when he had teeth. Yeah,
it really did. But it looks better now.
Yeah. So, one bloke wrote, "Don't be selfish to others. Go to the anger management before the weekend. I'm begging you." Thankfully, Storm24, a furniture maker from Whitby, Yorkshire, is taking it all in jest and believe people are just having a laugh. He said, "I found it hilarious when the storm was named after me and my family started making jokes about it. The next day, I started getting messages from people I've never even heard of. They went straight into my spam folder on Facebook."
And I think I saw that story, because doesn't it say that, ironically, over the weekend, he did have an angry breakdown and get involved in a fist fight in his local area.
I feel it's quite bad in some ways. I mean, this just shows as a society how far we've come, because why would people take the time to actually send him abusive messages?
Well, none of those were abusive, but are you reading some now to yourself that are abusive?
Well, heard you're sending a storm this weekend. Don't bother. We don't want it, wanker.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Well, and especially with that, all over the news today, people have been talking about trolling and everything else like that. Yeah, it's a pertinent topic.
So my next story is from the Bristol Live. This is, for me, the Everest of banality. But it is a good story.
What a beautiful phrase, Rob. The Everest of banality.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah, I do.
That could be our episode title.
Or at least a new tagline. So this actually goes back from before. This is from December. So this is from the 30th of December 2019 by Connor Gogarity. I think we've had him before. I'm sure we have. So, man walks around Cribbs Causeway car park for fun and absolutely loves it.
Sorry?
So, Cribbs Causeway is a massive outlet.
Retail park. Right. He walks around it for fun.
Yeah.
So he's lonely.
He's a car park enthusiast.
What? Now, it's funny you say this, Rob. It's funny you say this. Because one thing I really like are not those kind of car parks. I don't like those. But car parks, like underground car parks, or the kind of car parks you have to go in that might be attached to a shopping mall. What would you? Yeah, those like NCP car parks, all of those.
Right, like multi-story.
Multi-story car parks, especially the ones that go down into the basement. I always like going to those kind of car parks.
Yeah, but that's because you're dogging background.
Well, yes, that true. Yeah. But no, I don't know why. There's something about, especially a nice underground car park always has a certain frisson to it, I think.
Do you not? I get the impression you're romanticising. I just
yes.
Do you imagine that some sort of clandestine meeting is going to take place there?
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. I think it's from watching a lot of American movies growing up, and
yeah.
It's basically to do with that.
Men dressed in trench coats, that kind of thing,
so
exchanging briefcases.
Yeah, so when I was like in my late teens, early 20s and was playing Grand Theft Auto or whatever, I loved driving around, in the car parks, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I would do it for days, Rob. Days.
But on GTA, everyone knew if you parked in a car park, it's usually a good way to lose the police as well.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Excuse me, listeners.
Rob, would you like some nuts? Salted KP peanuts.
I told you about this. Put them away.
No.
Why are you eating nuts on the podcast?
I'm hungry. Would you like some?
Alex, there's nothing worse than listening to people eat on a podcast.
Yeah, but I can edit me chewing out. But can I just ask you, would you like some nuts?
I don't know how you didn't get them to me, Alex.
Nor do I. But you don't say I didn't offer.
Please don't cut this out, because I think this is gold.
Fine.
Anyway, right, on with the story. So, few people travel to Cribbs Causeway without any intention of spending a penny there, but that's exactly what Gareth Rees did. Gareth is a fan of car parks. He likes them so much he has written a 224-page book on the subject, which is called Car Park Life.
Can I just say, what do you think that... Is it like what Jack Torrance writes in The Shining when he's losing his mind, you know? What's his name again?
Sorry. Gareth Rees.
All car parks and no life makes Gareth a dull boy.
Alex, I think this man is obviously he's a car park lover, so I don't think he enjoys his habit.
Yeah.
So, can I just say, by the way, and I know we've had some great episode titles, but the next sentence I think contains possibly the best.
Really? Okay.
A love letter to the oft overlooked urban landscapes.
A love letter. Yeah, but it doesn't make sense as an episode title because you don't know what it's referring to.
A love letter to the oft overlooked urban landscapes. What does it make sense? When
no, it
we
doesn't,
ever needed that as
it's
a criteria?
because it's referencing car parks. What you could have is a love letter to oft overlooked urban landscapes. As long as you don't pluralise it, then it makes sense. A love letter to oft overlooked urban landscapes. That looks like that should be a book in a bookshop. Well,
technically it is because it relates to his car park life.
Should we get hold of this book, Rob, and read it out on the podcast?
So it's got testimonials. A retail park heart of darkness. Compelling, insightful, and teeming with midlife spirit. What does that mean?
Teeming with midlife crisis?
And apparently he's attributed this quote to The Guardian, by the way. So, both ludicrous and profoundly moral.
Oh, God, ludicrous and profoundly moral is a very good episode title. Oh, my God. How do you, Rob, when you listen to the edit, you know, I spend so long editing, and you pick out the episode title, how do you decide? Or do you just go with instinct, gut instinct?
I normally go with instinct. So I pick the ones that I think are going to work. So if there are quite a number of... I write them down. Then what I do, I go to a darker room, and I just use my sixth sense. Yeah, yeah. Wherever the semen falls, that's the episode title. Can I just say as well that surely that's the title of an erotic novel, isn't it? Wherever the semen falls.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Yes. It sounds like it could be a bit of a sort of, also, I don't know, a James Bond film.
Yes, but I imagine the opening sequence would be very different.
Anyway, what are we talking about? So this man, he wanders around car parks.
Yeah. So a love letter to oft overlooked urban landscapes. The newly released book features a spellbinding ode to Cribbs Causeway's 7,000 space car park.
Well, that's also an episode title. A spellbinding ode to Cribbs Causeway's, what is it?
7,000 space car park.
7,000 space car park. I mean, my God, we've got them this week.
So, Gareth travelled 200 miles from his home in Hastings to sample the joys of the South Gloucestershire shopping complex.
I'd love if he got there and it had been closed.
Well, I think it is struggling financially as well, but unfortunately it wasn't obviously there at that point, which dates back to 1976. I've actually been to Cribbs Causeway. I remember going there to watch The Lion King. Interesting fact for you there.
Yep, I've been there too when I was younger with my family. We went on a road trip in the Vauxhall Labrador.
For a second, I actually believed you.
Yeah.
Bypassing the countless retail options, Gareth thoroughly enjoyed a day wandering around the tarmac, and he has explained why the experience was such an exhilarating one.
Did he wank 6 times behind different cars? Is that what he does there?
It just ejaculates into vacant spaces. The book is about reimagining how we live and how everything is interesting if you look closely enough. The joy of the parking space was a new thing. The idea wasn't to shop, but to go around like a tourist at a botanical garden. Before the trip, Gareth's overriding memory of Gloucester was being dumped there in the 1990s by his girlfriend, a traffic and travel presenter of the area. But it's unhappy...
This is Alan Partridge territory now. Can I just say, I when you said that, I had the image of him literally just being dumped. chucked out a car, moving vehicle in Gloucester.
Yeah, his parents driving down the M5 just kicked him out, and that was him done. So he's been dumped by his girlfriend, a traffic and travel presenter in the area, but this unhappy association did nothing to hamper his enthusiasm for the visit. He was particularly excited by the Cribs Causeway website slogan, "Experience the joy of 7,000 free parking spaces."
What joy? You only need one of them. It's not like you can... I don't understand. Where's the joy?
Is that free, Alex?
Also, it sounds like it's a very long walk to wherever these shops are. If there's 7,000.
I think it is a fair walk.
Is it multi-storey? Or is it just spread out? Because I don't like big spread out car parks.
I think it is. I think it's spread out, yeah. That's what I remember.
See, that
but
makes...
Alex, there's 7,003 park. What you could do is you could park in one space, go to a shop, come back, move your car, go to another shop, and just take advantage of the free parking.
Sounds fun.
In his book, he describes this as an offer he simply cannot refuse. A slogan promising to fulfill his deepest desires. He asked, does the joy from parking free of charge? Or from the acknowledging that 7,000 parking spaces are freely available? Rarely can a shopping mall car park's core mission statement have such a sense of mystery, of poetry. Gareth writes that his idea to visit the car park without a car is perverted, adding, worse, I have no intention of spending any money at Cribs Causeway. So
I quite like this
he
guy,
doesn't have a car.
I quite like this guy because I can imagine this is actually a very good book. Because you would, if you went around and looked at different cars, because you'd get so much, from what was in the cars, what's on the back seat, what car is it, who's getting out the car, who's going into the cars. I bet it's a rumination on human life, really, Rob. I
think you're right. I think that he's basically trying to explore the mundane and finding joy in that.
Like this podcast, Rob.
Exactly. I mean, he obviously doesn't take it too seriously. He goes on to say, I wouldn't even sneak inside to buy a sandwich. It's everything they don't want. I'm an abomination, a freeloader, taking the piss. Anyway, it goes on, but I just want to feature this one small thing about a particular roundabout. One of the first things he saw in the shopping complex was a standing stone in the middle of a roundabout, which brought to his mind the causeway's history as a Roman route from Sea Mills to Gloucester. Out here on the Roman road, making the entrance to the moor, this faux Neolithic standing stone sculpture suggests we have progressed from the worship of the old gods into a brave new dawn of commerce, fossil fuel combustion, and convenient parking. For Gareth, the stone highlights how the retail park is a logical progression from man using first tools. He reveals he was awestruck by Cribs' mad, multi-layered landscape, the Escher lithograph of parking. And we'll leave that there.
Also a very nice episode title, Rob.
Yeah.
I just want to do a quick story, Rob, from Seattle. Before we move on to the listener story, Rob. From the Seattle Times by Antonia Nouri Farzan, again from February the 14th. Headline, woman on first date ends up as a getaway driver in a bank robbery.
What?
I know, and this is real. So, when her date said he needed to stop at a bank, the 40-year-old Massachusetts woman had no reason to be suspicious. But moments later, Christopher Castillo, what a great name, came sprinting back to her car, sweating profusely and clutching a gun, hat, sunglasses, and $1,000 in cash. He urged the woman to speed away, and their first date quickly turned into a slow-motion disaster as Castillo tangled with police officers, and the woman unwittingly found herself becoming a suspected accessory to a bank heist. Castillo, 33, was sentenced to 5 years in prison after pleading guilty to robbery and assault charges stemming from the botched 2006 rendezvous, the Attleboro Sun Chronicle reported. So that's the local paper.
Okay,
the Attleboro Sun Chronicle. According to the Bristol County District Attorney's Office, he had met the 40-year-old woman on an online dating app. The two met for the first time on December the 5th, 2016, when the woman picked Castillo up at his parents' house in Rhode Island. That's a great way to start a date, isn't it? Yeah, I'm still living with my mum and dad. You come pick me up from Rhode Island.
He sounds like a catch, Alex, I must admit.
Yeah, and then can you take me to the local car park? Anyway. And then they drove roughly half an hour to North Attleboro, Massachusetts, where she lived. She later told prosecutors that Castillo had sat in the passenger seat and downed wine as she drove.
Wow. I mean, at what stage do you start having doubts about this as a date?
You've met this guy online. instead of him saying, I'll pick you up, he says, I'm still with my parents, can you come pick me up? She picks him up and he swigs wine out of a bottle the entire way. At his request, she pulled over to let him out at the Bristol County Savings Bank. But when he hurriedly returned to the Nissan Maxima, it quickly became clear that he wasn't just making an ATM withdrawal. Castillo had informed the bank teller he was, in quotes, really hurting and needed money. Do you reckon he needed the money for the date? I think that's what it was.
Is it just me, but if that is the case, is there something slightly romantic about that?
You're right, Rob. And he then flashed an antique gun that belonged to his stepfather, the station reported. An antique... So, I mean, this is really desperate stuff, Rob. Hopping
You
back...
should have sold that.
Huh? Yeah, he could... Exactly!
Be a lot easier. Or just do something cheap, go for a walk. Visit a car park.
Hopping back into the Nissan, he swore at his date and told her to hurry up and go. Again, gentlemanly behaviour.
Absolutely, yeah.
The woman told police that she panicked when Castillo commanded her to drive and followed his orders. Moments later, blue flashing lights appeared in her rearview mirror. It hadn't been hard for police to track down Castillo. The robbery happened at 2:49 p.m. in broad daylight, and an officer who was in the area saw the Nissan drive by and noticed that the man in the passenger seat happened to meet the description of the suspect. The woman immediately pulled into the parking lot of a Dunkin' coffee house and stepped out of the car, but Castillo stayed in her Nissan, ducking down to hide from the police. So his way of trying to avoid detection was, I'll just hide in the car.
Makes sense, yeah.
When the officers tried to extricate him, he violently struggled and spat on them, authorities said. And then he screamed, "The gun isn't even loaded!" before being taken into custody.
Fucking hell. So, when do you think the third date is?
Good question. Initially, police thought the woman had been in on the scheme and charged her with being an accessory after the fact. She was arrested and held on $250,000 bail, but she insisted that she had never intended to be a getaway car driver, and prosecutors ultimately dropped the charges. Castillo, who reportedly had an extensive criminal record that included convictions for larceny and domestic violence, didn't get off so easily. On Tuesday, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison for armed robbery and 2 years in jail for assaulting the 3 police officers who arrested him. It's unclear why it took more than 3 years for the case to be resolved. I am pleased the defendant was held accountable for this violent robbery and for spitting at the police officers. Bristol County District Attorney Thomas Quinn said in a statement, "This type of lawless behaviour is simply not acceptable."
Yeah, I think we can agree with that. Because, if you're going on a first date, you have to bring your own gun.
Yeah. Okay, Rob, it is time for our listener story of the week. It's not allowed to be from Amy.
It's not from Amy, I'm glad to say. Not glad to say, but
Yeah.
it's relieved to say. Let's put it that way. So
There's nothing against you, Amy. It's just like everybody's like looking forward to Liverpool losing their first game this year. It's that kind of
I'm
feeling.
not. No, I'm very much behind Liverpool. I'm enjoying watching them sweep the floor with everyone.
But you're meant to have a place in your heart for Manchester United, so why on earth would you ever support Liverpool?
I've always, whenever I used to play FIFA back in the days when I used to literally play FIFA for 8 hours straight, it was always with Liverpool. I've always had a soft spot for Liverpool.
Right. Well, anyway, I'm looking forward to them losing because I don't want them beating Arsenal's 49.
Yeah, I find that very funny.
Are
they 6 games off now? I believe it is.
I think they are.
6 games. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, they've still got a long way to go. Although I think it's just those 6 games they need to win the Premiership. So, the Premier League. I still get that confused. Anyway, we are going to a little-known paper called the Tokyo Reporter. Which means it's only from one person. It's from Jack, obviously. The story is from the 9th of February, 2015. So it's a slightly old story, but it's still a good story nonetheless. Reporting news from 5 years ago, which seems slightly fitting on when we'd be going 8 years. Anyway, so I'm not even going to try and read out the name of the journalist because I'll only butcher it. So, the headline: Tokyo men ready to smash Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Are you ready for romance this Valentine's Day? Have the chocolates ready for your loved one? Restaurant booked?
Well, it's been gone, Rob, Valentine's Day.
Oh, right. Well, I thought I'd ask anyway.
No.
If yes, you might be wise to keep an eye on the Kakudi, otherwise known as the Unpopular Revolutionary League.
This sounds like something out of Life of Brian.
So the group will hold a Smash Valentine's Day
The
demonstration.
Unpopular Revolutionary League.
Yes.
I'm sorry, that is just absolutely brilliant. Okay, go on.
They've to me sound like the forerunners of incels. Let's put it that way.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So the group will hold a Smash Valentine's Day demonstration next Saturday in Shibuya, wielding bullhorns and hosting flags with slogans to denounce the annual tradition and the passion-based capitalism it sows. Participants will take to the streets around the JR Shibuya station. So, I think it's Hakido, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing this, first took up its anti-Valentine's stance crusade the year after its founding in 2006. It has since set up a number of similar demonstrations that even the staunchest of Grinches would blush about. At Christmas, the Hakudo, which more literally means the revolutionary... right, so means... which literally means the revolutionary group of men that women are not attracted to.
Right.
March against the festivities to demand couples self-criticise.
Sorry, I'm very confused. What's their problem with Valentine's Day? They're basically jealous that other people are in relationships. Is that it?
No, they feel that they feel that Valentine's Day is a passion. It's a passion-based capitalism.
Well, yes, it is. Yes, of course.
Yeah. But also, I think it shows them up the fact they're single and this is being thrust upon them, if that makes sense.
I see. Yes.
So in January 2013, according to the site Joshi Spa, Kokido held the June Blind event where participants asserted that if women in their 30s who have failed to marry are loser dogs, then men in this situation are winning pigs.
Right.
The police are very misogynistic. At the 2013 event against marriage, Mark Water, which I still think sounds a bit strange. It's an event in Tokyo, and apparently it's led by a guy called Mark Water.
yeah, that is a bit incongruous, yeah.
The group's leader at the time explained his position to Rousing Cheers that housewives stay at home is unforgivable. They control Japan's direction from their homes. This, he argued, has negatively impacted Japan's class of unpopular men. Salarymen who struggle with women pay a premium for the women who stay at home. Their special rights afford housewives are unforgivable. I don't really understand where he's coming from here.
Rob, I've got no idea what this story is about.
No,
it's like it's been translated badly from Japanese.
So, salarymen who struggle with women pay a premium for those women who stay at home. The special rights afforded housewives are unforgivable. Again, not really sure what's going on. So, according to the group's site, the demonstration starts the north entrance to Yishita Park. That's probably far away from what it actually is. Within the hour at 1 p.m, those wishing to participate are advised to get behind the Kakido slogans. This time, the group will rally around a number of claims, including flirting in public is terrorism.
Right, so these really are sort of radicals.
Yeah, these are I think unpopular men
on the fringes of society.
On the fringes of society who have unified and are taking their message to the streets to criticise those in relationships.
I think their time would be better start, Rob, just going and visiting some car parks, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think that's right, Alex, yeah.
This brings, Rob, this episode of LA Podcast to a close. We look forward with a mixture of eager anticipation yet trepidation to our next episode, which will be episode 304?
Yes.
As we move ever more forward, Rob, I can't remember the stories we've had this week. Okay, as we move ever more forward like a man... as we move ever more forward like a woman... with her hopes really high that this man is going to be the one, picking him up in Rhode Island from his parents' house, feeling maybe slightly disappointed as he drinks and swigs wine in the passenger seat, feeling a bit more disappointed when he asks if you can pull over so he can run into a bank, feeling a bit more disappointed when he jumps back into the car with a gun and stolen money from the bank, swears at you and tells you to drive, and probably even more disappointed when the police catch up with you and arrest you both. Just like that, we move ever more forward to our next episode, which will be episode 304, as I say. We can be found on our website, lapodcast.net. We're on Facebook at facebook.com. Sorry, Rob, your face right now. As I'm reading this out, Rob has leant back in his chair. And you know when somebody's just staring into space? I was looking at you and I could just hear "Hello Darkness, my old friend" playing over there. It was brilliant.
I'm flagging Alex, I'll be honest.
We can be found on. I've still got no idea what that Japanese story was about at all. When I listen back to the edit, maybe it'll make sense. I've got no idea.
Yeah, I'm hoping it all comes to. As always, and a lot of times in this podcast, let's hope it all comes together in the edit.
Muggins over here has to do it. Listen,
yeah, basically.
We're on lapodcast.net. From there, you can download all of our previous episodes. If you want to donate to the worthy cause, it's this podcast. Set up a monthly donation or just send us a tip. A one-time donation is a PayPal button. We do really appreciate that. On the podcast app, wherever you're getting us, just subscribe or leave us a review. We're on Spotify as well, aren't we, Rob?
We're still on there. Episodes go up every week as when they're posted.
And we're on Facebook at facebook.com/LA podcast. And we're on Twitter at LA podcast. And if you want to submit us a story, you can tweet it to us, post it on Facebook, or email us that good old-fashioned way at lapodcast.net@gmail.com. That's lapodcast.net@gmail.com. I think Rob might have fallen asleep. So that just leaves me to say, God bless. Rob, God bless.
Oh, and keep it local.